What is going on? Welcome to another episode of the Dent Digest live show. What's up, Alex?
Not much. What's up, Ryan?
Hey, it's been a month, dude. Like I haven't had a show in a month. I was getting some calls. Everybody was saying, "You, everything okay? Everything fine? Like, is Ryan okay?" Like Manny's calling me. He's like, people are saying, like, "Dude, are you okay?" I'm like, yes. So I need to apologize. I do need to apologize. It's been a month. I'm sorry, guys. We are slammed with hail. And I went on 8-day vacation. So probably not the smartest thing to do when you're in the middle of a hailstorm, but life happens, man. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just got to do it. How about you? What's new with you? Oh, we went on a Disney cruise, man. So
nice.
It was great. There was I don't mind. I sleep really, really good on a boat, right? Like I just totally just enjoy, like it's the best sleep you'll ever have. But we were coming back from Bermuda to New York on our first run of the trip. And there was a point of like you could feel like your feet were sliding off the bed, your calf was getting to the bed, and then you would slide back to the headrest of the headboard of the bed. And my wife reached over and she grabs my arm and she's like, "What is going on?" And I was like, I look at her and I was like, "You ever see Deadliest Catch?" She's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, that's what we're doing." Because you could hear the bow of the boat smash in the water. It was just gnarly rough. So it was good, man. It was a good trip. I'm glad I went. I turned my phone on airplane mode and the boys at the shop just kind of did the best they could. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
But overall, everything's been great. We've been busy. Shop's busy. Hail, dude. It's that grind of, I'm not used to being this busy this late in the year.
You went from ocean to ocean of dents.
Yes, it's been fun. It's been fun. How about you? What's new in your world? And if you guys don't know, this is Alex from Arizona Dent Repair. I hope you know him. The old dent hunters.
Right. I got the old hat on tonight.
So what's going on? Last time you were on here, you were in town. You were here.
I was at your opening. Yeah. 1 year.
Yeah. So what's new with you? What's going on?
Just work. I'm super busy. I was training my brother, but he quit in July because of how hot it was here. It was like it was like the whole month. It was over 113. It felt like.
Yeah.
So he was like, "This ain't for me."
Hey, I get it, bro.
He was like, "You guys are crazy."
It's you know what? And perfect example. I mean, Shane was with me for 4.5 years and quit and just said, "I don't like it. This isn't for me." And that's one thing about this business is it's not for everybody.
No,
it's really not. Like you need, and it's funny because Adam Jones is in here and we've had this conversation. Like you need to be 100% dedicated to learning this craft and getting better, because if not, you're not going to make it.
You have to have the whole package.
Yeah. And it's not all tool related either. It's a mental drive of getting your balls kicked in doing this. Cause dude, I've been doing this now 24 years and I still get dents and I'm like, what the hell, dude? Like, what am I thinking? Like, why am I taking this? What am I trying? I'm trying to make money, but Jesus, why am I, And it's funny because before the show we were talking about this industry and its ego. It's a heavy ego driven industry, and we look at dents. We're like, we could do that. $1,100. Okay, get it in there. You're looking at it, you're like, damn,
Why
I
am I
didn't see
doing
that.
this?
What am I doing? I didn't see that crown that's right at the edge of the door. So it tests you very good.
Oh yeah,
it tests you. So
you gotta be strong to get past that. A lot of dent
how?
guys, I don't think, do that.
No, and
So,
bro, there's times that I give up. You know what I mean? I'm lucky
yeah,
that I have like Josh, and I'm like, can you take a look at this? And I'm very lucky with Mikey too, because Mikey's got the body shop background. So the other day I had a door that was kind of V'd at the front edge at the fender,
yeah,
and a crease went into the fender, and I'm like, bro, I don't know exactly. And I've been doing this so long, you know everything, right?
yeah.
You're good at your craft. You know everything, but I always look at Mikey and I'm like, hey, what do you think? How do you think the easiest way for us to get this edge out? And he's like, duh, why don't you use those edgy hookers you have? And I'm like, oh my God, I forgot I have them. And it fixed it. You know what I mean? So
I can
it's
see how he
always
said that.
it's always multiple. I always like input from other people on different things, even like if
Yeah,
like you're in town, how would you fix this? Or how would you fix that? Or always getting input. So it's pretty cool.
yeah.
MTE, book the hotel today. Prepare yourself. There is a bunch of different places to stay in there. Kevin Bird said stay close to the convention center and stay close to the pool, but there's like 5 pools in that place, so just pick one of them.
Wow.
I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm excited for MT. It's going to be a really good one. The place is huge. So I think it'll be good. It'll be a lot of fun.
This will be my first Florida one.
About time.
I know.
All you West Coast guys, man, always scared to come to the East Coast. You can't handle it.
Well,
That's all. Make sure
yeah,
you bring a sweatshirt because you guys are
I will.
so used to the heat. It's always cold in Orlando during MTE. So,
I might
so
not go then.
I got a tool I want to bring up, and I've had it for a little while. The new Cam Auto Mini Lifter, cool ass product, and I can tell you there's more to this than you see. One of the things is you can see the feet come off fairly easy. There's going to be multiple attachments for this.
Different feet.
Yes. The other really cool thing is you can hold tension with this. So it's a rotating head, and you can literally, if you want to hold tension on a dent, and you would tighten this top knob, and it'll literally hold the handle tight. So you glue a tab, you're holding tension to knock it down instead of a full bridge. These legs are also movable, kind of like a mini bridge, like a Kiko mini bridge. One thing I used it on today, and it was funny that I used it on this today because I saw it on Facebook that someone else was doing it the same way. The top of a door, of a Subaru door, you got a hail dent at the very top, and usually try to use a slide hammer to get it. And the top of the door moves so much you don't really get a whole lot of movement.
Yeah.
This thing lines up so nice on the top of the door, and the feet clear the tab, that it just totally was amazing pulling at the top of the door.
Looks really nice.
I think it's really well made. It's polycarbonate top, aluminum, rubber feet. They kind of rotate a little bit, but it's a really nice mini lifter. Charles usually does a really good job, and this has been in the works. We were talking about this mini lifter during the pandemic.
2020.
Yeah, like we were FaceTime talking, and we were talking about that. So I knew it was coming.
Looks really well made.
It's nice. It's really nicely.
When you do tension, is it 2 different knobs up there?
Yes, it'll lock
Turn
it.
one to get it stay.
Yeah. This will separate.
Nice.
So let me pull it up. See how it separates at the top here? You really can't, can you? You can see how it's 2 knobs here.
Yeah.
And this is obviously spring loaded here. So it's a great idea. I mean, it just
Yeah.
totally is a great, you'll be able to really get some tension on there and knock the crown. So I think this is going to be a really big hit this
Might
year.
have to get that at MTE.
And I think this is going to be a key feature too, is the different feet that you're going to be able to put on there are different attachments. And it's so easy. They articulate around. It's a cool ass mini lifter. So I'm excited just because it's taken him so long. The manufacturing, the ideas, the R&D that he's got in this. And Charles always puts a lot of time and effort into his stuff. So it's funny because I sent him a message. I saw his booth at SEMA, and I just sat back and I felt like a proud dad, right? You got that dad moment when you're like, look at this guy. He's got a really nice booth, Swiss Tracks floor down, everything laid out nice. The first time he came to MTE, he had a table with a taped up Cam Auto banner across with a piece of duct tape and everything thrown on the table and boxes of stuff and a TV screen. And we all looked at him. We're like,
this is SEMA.
What the hell is this guy doing over here? You know what I mean? We saw him and then we started talking, and I talked to Charles before that, so I had an idea of what he had, but now he's got, a big ass booth at SEMA and, doing his thing. So it's super cool to watch.
I really
smaller
want
guys, even Kiko. I mean, look at Kiko's booth at SEMA is massive, bro. I mean, he's probably got $1 million in that booth.
That's crazy.
So,
I've never been to SEMA.
SEMA's a different animal. I haven't been in a couple years, but it's cool. It's different than MTE. MTE is so knit close, and we know the manufacturers, we know the tools. SEMA's better bring your walking stick because it is a long week. It's a long week. But let's get our guest on, get going on the show. Thanks all you guys coming back to watch. I figured I'd be sitting here with Alex by myself. I've been gone for a month. I figured you guys are like, he's never coming back. That show's been going for 4 years. He needed a break anyway. So, but let's get him on. What's up, Corey?
What's up, guys?
How you doing?
We're good. How are you?
What's the name of your company and where are you from?
Fender Benders PDR from Gilbert, Arizona.
Okay. And obviously, we got some competition here. We got 2 guys from Arizona. I guess are you guys direct competition?
No,
he's never run.
So Alex is the cheap dent guy, and you're the expensive dent guy. Is what you're telling me? Hell yeah, we got a couple of those too.
Gilbert's one of the richest places in Arizona.
Really?
Yeah.
Don't tell people that.
A lot of money there.
It's okay.
There's no money in Scottsdale or Phoenix or Paradise Valley.
Yeah.
So let's get into you. How long have you been pushing?
All right. Starts off before that. I actually painted cars for 10 years before I got into pushing metal.
Okay. So you were in the body shop world. That's cool.
I started in body shop when I was like 17. I worked my way up to lead tech. I ended up owning a shop for a period of time. Hated it, sold it, went back to working for somebody. And then I found an opportunity to learn how to fix dents in 2017. Actually, it was 2016 that I started at the shop. And then I positioned myself to because I was working at a shop that had 1 body tech, me, and 5 PDR guys. So it was dominantly PDR, but they did do some spot and stuff like that. And I did well as their painter, but I didn't do as well as the dent guys. And I kept hearing them talk about it. And I was like, I got to stop doing this. So 2016, January, I quit painting for that guy and I started pushing dents in that month.
Who showed you the basics at that shop? Is that where you learned?
A lot of it. I mean, Nevin was there. This kid, Matthew was the owner's son-in-law, and he is a phenomenal dent guy. He was the first guy that ever fixed something in front of my eyes that I was like, no way, dude, you ain't fixing that. And he did it.
Wow.
Like, all right, there's something to this. I want to learn how to do that, because he was the guy that actually put the big smashes in my head initially, because I saw it in real life and I was like, there's no way. This RAV4 gate came in. I thought for sure we were going to replace it. And the owner was like, nah, Matthew's going to PDR that. And I was like, no, he's not. No, he's not. And then he did. Yeah. And eating my word. So yeah, that was it. But
So I got a question. Where is Jared Kirk in Arizona compared to you guys?
Jared Kirk is closer to me. He lives on the east side as well.
Okay.
He's got a brick and mortar. I do strictly mobile stuff. So
Okay.
yeah, he's closer to like Tempe, Mesa area.
Okay. So you were watching these PDR guys make this repairs in front of your eyes go away, and you were like, I got to figure this out. Like, I'm interested in it. How did you go forward from there?
Honestly, I realized like I worked there for probably 8 months as a painter with the intention of like learning as I go. And I bought tools based on the recommendation of the owner. I would go home, I would kind of fix dents at night, and I realized that I wasn't gaining any traction because there was no like need. I was tired. At the end of the day, I made my money and I'm going home and doing extra now.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. It just dawned on me that if I didn't immerse myself into it fully, I was never going to actually do it. And so I just made a decision that January 1st, regardless of where my skill level is at, I'm going to stop painting and I'm going to do this full time. And so that was what I did.
Okay.
And, it was just, I had a bit of a disagreement with the owner as far as like how the pay scale was going to work. I was a few months into it, and it for whatever reason, it was like 8 weeks, and I figured it. I knew it in 8 weeks, and I was like, oh my god, something clicked. The lights went on, and I was like, this makes a lot of sense now. And I just started doing way faster work and cleaner work, and then now I'm making money here. And the owner saw that, and he was kind of like, hey, you're the guy that I want to send to get new accounts because you're personable and you have skills now, and let's go drum up some new work. And I was like, yeah, I'm for it. What's the pay? And he was like, well, you're 1099. There is no pay. We discussed a couple options and we couldn't see it on it. And so actually May of that same year, May 1st, I quit and I started my business.
Okay. Scary times, huh?
I don't know. I had very low expectations at the time, I knew what I needed to pay my bills, and it was like $200 a day. And I was like, if I can make $200 a day, I could pay my bills. So, that was my target at the beginning, was $200.
Did you have a number of like what you thought, being a PDR guy, what you thought you would make?
Yeah, I thought
like
that
was it lower or higher than what you ended up?
Legitimately. Okay, so like I had only really known what like hail guys were making, because we had a hailstorm here in 2010, and we had some phenomenal technicians that came in, and these were truly like probably the first like dent guys that I'd ever met. And Alex will tell you, there's not a lot. I shouldn't say this. Well,
there isn't.
There's not a lot of talent here. There's a group of us, and we're very capable, but a majority of the people out here don't even know what a good dent repair looks like. Like the consumers, they don't know, and so they just, oh, it looks better, and that's good, and it's like, and wait till you see what an actual repair looks like. So yeah,
expectations are low, I guess, huh?
Dude.
Anybody who knows the people that run in the circle, they've changed the expectations, but
yeah.
I know 10 times out here I got a dent at 80%, and they're like, it's perfect. What are you doing? Why are you working on this? It's like, it's not done.
Yeah.
It's so crazy sometimes, even any of the customers come in, just, can you make it look better? And I'm like, I'm not your make it look better guy. I want to fix it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't like working in the gray area personally. It leaves too much room for communication.
100%. I like it. Transparency is the best thing that I always try to do. Like, look, this is where we're going to be. We're going to be 90%. My 90 is probably your 110%, but I'm going to get it the best we can get it. And that's the problem with our industry is dents are just not what they used to be. Dents are bad now. A lot of stuff we're fixing is just bad. Cars are harder to work on. Access is way worse. It's just different than it used to be in the olden days.
They keep coming out with tools that allow us to fix harder damage.
100%.
But it doesn't change the fact that still takes 10, 15 hours. I mean, sometimes 30 hours. I don't do a 30-hour dent, but
not yet.
I don't either.
But I know
I'm a
some guys
turn.
that do.
Turn and burn, baby. Let's go. What were you gonna say, Corey?
Right.
I was just thinking that the technology in paint is also a player in that too, because more cars, like the pliability and adhesion of these finishes on these cars, they're holding. Everything stays.
Mhm.
15, 20 years ago, it wasn't that case.
Yeah, some single stage. There's
That's
some
the
nasty
difference
shit.
between lacquer paint and water-based paint, right?
I think water base is not as good as solvent base. I think solvent had a little better adhesion.
Yeah.
I feel like there's just not as much material on the car. You know what I mean?
Well-
I feel like some of the Teslas and the Hyundais and the Rivians, there's no material. Even the new Honda stuff is super thin.
The adhesion comes from your ground
Prep.
coat.
Yeah.
Primer.
Yeah, your primer, your epoxies. The color coat is just it's actually has almost no build on it, and your polyurethane finish on the top that's where you get your flex and your UV protection. But yeah,
How many cars do you think you've painted in your painting career?
10,000 cars.
That's crazy.
Not exactly. Oh, there was days where like you're pumping out 10 cars a day.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
I also owned a shop for a period of time. I owned a shop for a year where we were doing completes. And so I sprayed a lot of cars.
That's probably why you picked it up so fast, though.
Yeah, I mean, blending is very similar. It's like the same skills, like the way I see it, just with a different application. That I'm using a paint to blend, and like you're looking at it in the same way, but now I'm looking at the top finish rather than like the color coat.
Yeah,
but
I see what you're saying.
Corey was pretty natural. When he was a 3-year tech, I saw something he posted, and I was like, "Who is this guy?" And I didn't meet you till 2019, but that was what, 3 years before that?
No, so I
2
started,
years before.
yeah, 2 years.
2 years before that. So you were a 2-year tech. I remember the dent, and it looked perfect as a 2-year tech. I was a 5-year tech still. You didn't want to look at my stuff.
I just saw that there was a need for complex repairs in my area. Like there are a lot of, I don't want to offend anybody, but there's a lot of ding guys in our area. A lot of ding guys, and there's
Is his name Mark?
Mork.
Mork with an O. Hey, Mark.
Is he in here?
Anyway, when you went out on your own, were you just trying to do wholesale? Were you trying to do some retail? Like, what was your expectation? Whatever you could get your hands on at that point, right?
Man, I went to little rock lots. I went to everywhere, and like my first day out, I came home with $280, and I was like, "This is gonna work. I exceeded my expectations in the first attempt." And I was doing rock lot stuff, and I did whatever I could. And then, like, honestly, it was just, David Shutt had a huge impact on me early on. Him and I worked at the same place. He didn't know me. We never met. He worked at there and quit before I even started. And we had a mutual friend, someone that I worked with, Nevin. And David reached out to me, and he was like, "Hey, I don't know you, but I heard you just quit your job and you're doing dent work. And what's your plan?" And I was like, "I don't know." He's like, "Cool, let's meet for lunch." And we met for lunch, and he walked me into Portillo's, and I pulled out my wallet to grab a bill, and he was like, "Oh no, you don't have a job. I got lunch." And like that. Thank you. Yeah, that's offensive, but okay. I'm just gonna put that.
That's Dave.
Man, he sat down. He gave me all of his literature. Hey, this kind of thing. He had some printouts and some cards that he had made, and some before and after photos, and he had already had some stuff in play, and he kind of just presented it to me, and he goes, "I've had really good success with this. This is the attitude you need to have. This is the persistence you need to bring to the table. This is what you have." And he laid it out. And if you know David, he's a very passionate man. Okay, he loves our industry. He's a self-proclaimed steward of our industry, is what he would say. But no, I mean, everything he said, I took it to heart, and I applied it, and I had immediate success. Honestly, I mean, my first month, I far exceeded any expectations I had. And it's just never really stopped, honestly.
Yeah.
So, but the big repairs were in my opinion, and like I feel like it's probably something that's applicable in a lot of areas of like you know, don't be the guy doing the small stuff. Be the guy doing the out of the box stuff. Because I mean, I was on the expo, and I feel like I always bring his name up, but like you can't talk about big dents without talking about Bryce Kelly, and like anybody in our industry knows him. You know, the guy does miracles, and it's like,
Yeah.
you know, there's a reason that he is so busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. He books about 2 months out. When I was with him, he was booking 2 months out. It was insane.
But
there's a reason.
People like that, I feel like I'm really grateful for, because, you know, my first person that I saw that was Matthew. And had I not seen a gate fix like that, I would not even considered it to be possible. And then, you know, with people like Bryce Kelly pushing the envelope, it just further progresses anybody who's watching him. You know, if you're not watching that and going like, what can I do better? Then like, why are you watching it? You know?
Yeah. And I think it eliminates that. I'm not sure if that can be fixed. You know what I mean? Like you look at this stuff, you're like, ooh, I've seen that dent before. Okay.
Yes.
Now I get an idea. Now we know that it can be fixed. So let's try and waste 2 days on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know, sometimes you swing and miss, but
yeah,
you know, you're always learning.
Yeah, that's very true.
So what is your game plan from that point? You know, you're trying to get out there, you talk to Dave, you just kept growing and kept growing and kept growing. Are you at this point where you are right now? Are you more retail, or are you more wholesale, or are you kind of a little bit of a hybrid guy that does a little bit of everything?
I do a little bit of everything. And that was actually something that David had talked about as well. So I would say that probably 30% of my income is from wholesale dealership lots. I have 5, you know, factory brand dealership lots that I service. That's steady work. You know, it's go out there and like, you know, walk the lot, pull out 10 cars, do it. You know, they're pretty, my accounts, I'm very fortunate. They're super cool with me. They don't give me a lot of like trouble. And then I do body shop stuff, and my body shop is probably my strongest part of my game, because I'm in a body shop and I'm very like well versed, and I know how to talk the talk when I walk in there. So that to me is always a lot of fun, and that makes me I feel most at home in a body shop. Yeah. You know, when I go in there, I'm chopping it up with everybody around me, and you know, just grinning and talking shit, and you know, but that's where I like to be. And then I actually don't do any kind of real advertising for retail, but everybody that I have service hands out my card. You know, especially like consolidator shops, they are based 100% on their gross profit, and they pull a car in here that has a dent in it, and I give them a 25% margin, and they're like, I don't want that. You're going to ruin my GP. Get it out of my shop. Take his card. Call this guy directly. I don't want anything to do with it. Mm-hmm. That's where I get my retail stuff. So it's probably closer to like, you know, 30, 50, 20, you know.
Yeah. Body shops are huge. I've been saying that forever. And like me, when I started RPS, I didn't have anything, you know, just like when you started, you had nothing. And I didn't want to, when I worked for the Wiz, I did dealer lots. You know, my wife was like, why do you don't want to do used car dealers? They always have cars. And I'm like, can you imagine dealing with a used car manager that you know, that pain in the ass that you're trying to buy a car from every day? No, it beats the hell out of you, you know? So I went straight body shop, and that's where I succeeded. You know, I mean, you look at it as they're your advocators. They're your advertising right hand in hand. They come to the body shop because the body shops are the expert, and they're like, oh no, you need to call these guys. You know, you need to call. Oh, that's the way to go.
And especially if the body shop represent, like the estimator there handing out your card knows your pricing and your capability, because they're going to look at that job and say, hey, this is like $2,500 if you bring it to the body shop, but this guy will do it for $600.
Yeah.
You know, and he'll do it at your house. It'll be done the same day. It's a much better repair. Just call him.
Yeah.
You know, it's by the time those people call you, it's sold. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, and it's easy. Well, what do you think? You know, well, they told me 600. Well, you're probably looking like 1,100, you know, and they're like, okay. Well, they told me 2,500 in a week.
Yeah.
You know, so, but that's a huge thing when you're trying to grow is the body shop stuff. It's a big deal.
Yeah. Well,
and relationships. I mean, you hit it on the head, you know, and Alex was here, and he's gone to work with me. And my biggest thing in our business is relationships. I say this all the time. You need to go in, you need to talk to every single person there. wash guy to the paint prepper to the painter. You need to talk to everybody
Yeah.
because they're the guy that's going to say, hey, there was another dent guy in here trying to get the business, or hey, they were using some other guy, or just give you the heads up. Hey, there's a new GM, just to give you a heads up before you're land blasted. But the relationships are huge.
Yeah. I
think
think one of the early lessons that I learned chasing around a company that I thought that I was better than to work from them is that it's first and foremost a popularity contest. You can be the best dent guy on the planet, but if you can't talk to people, chances are no one's going to take a chance on you.
Yes.
And you have to maintain those relationships and then provide a good service. And if you can do all those things, you're going to be successful.
And it's the problem is there's a lot of dent guys that can't do that.
Yeah, I see.
They just don't have the personality. They just don't have that. They're not relaxed in that. They're very tense. They're very like, oh, I don't know. No, you just gotta go in, bro. You're the best at your game. That's how you gotta look at it. You know what you're doing. You know how to do it. What's this paint prepper that's prepping cars for $18 an hour going to do to you? Just fucking talk to them. You gotta just try it and throw yourself out there. But there's some people can't.
Yeah, it comes with practice. You have to be like,
yeah.
Something that I thought of, when I was a tech working at a shop that I never loved. I was never mad about it, but I never loved the way the scenario was. Every time a vendor would come in and take some work from the shop, they'd hook up the people in the office. Oh, here's a goodie bag. Here's this, here's that. Everyone in the office gets all this cool stuff. And I'm in the back going like, but I lost out on that job. And what do I get? I get nothing, nothing that really didn't bother me. But I just thought that when I was in that, if I ever get to that position, I'm not going to be that way. And so I give away hats. I give away shirts with my logo on them. Every time I clear a certain dollar figure in a shop on one job, I buy the whole shop lunch, and I sit down. It gives me opportunity to just hang out. And, again, that's where I feel like I'm the most comfortable is in that setting, with a bunch of blue collar guys that have dirt under their nails that are just eating and talking and just bullshit, and that's where I like to be. And so that's a great opportunity, and it's so inexpensive. And I think people kind of overlook that because it's, I did a $5,000 hail repair. I spent $150 lunch, and everyone's like, "You're the man." And I'm like,
"Oh yeah,
okay."
Every Tuesday I bring 5 dozen donuts to one of my stores. It's like $7,000, $7,500 at the end of the year, but it's it's right off.
Yeah.
But people just love I didn't start that. The dent guy I ended up taking that from was doing that, and he wasn't a very good dent guy, but he did that. And when they fired him, the manager was like, the only thing that people care about is they're not gonna have donuts anymore. Can you bring donuts on Tuesday? I was like, yeah, I'll bring donuts. And it was like they never even changed dent guys. It was crazy.
Has that helped your relationship in there?
Oh yeah. It's a big plus. I also like all the guys text if they help me out or let me work in the spot. I'll go buy them lunch that day. Everyone likes me there, but you gotta keep people happy.
And it's hard sometimes. Just like Corey said, sometimes these guys it's slowing down a little bit, and the dent guy's in there taking the job, and he's like just banged out a $300 fender in 15 minutes, and they're looking back to like, what the hell, they just used my stall. But we go back to relationship. I have plenty of shops. You saw it firsthand. Oh, you need a space? Let me pull the car in for you. You walk in there, you're like a superhero. They're like, oh, what do you need? Do you Bro, I got it. I can pull my car in. I can fix it over here in the corner. So it's 100% about you being their best buddy. You know what I mean? You building that relationship. And we have a painter at a body shop right down the street, and he came in the other day and he's like, hey, my wife got a new car. Need to get her 2 windows tinted. Okay. Drop it off Thursday. Drops it off Thursday, and Noah drives it. It's a body shop right up the street. Noah drives it up the street, gives him a bill, and there's zero balance. You know, it took Noah like 20 minutes, 30 minutes to tint a window, and we just used film that we had. And he drove all the way back. He's like, "No, I owe you money." I'm like, "No, man. When I break the paint on something or the paint comes off of something, you're gonna help me." So, you know,
Yeah.
you've done it before. It's just like Corey said, give and take.
So
You know what I mean?
something that I like to do at body shops is if I get to a new shop, or maybe there's a new estimator or something, you know, reestablishing myself, I usually tell them that I have 3 prices in a body shop. I have 3. I said I have the Oopsie Dent price, which is Oopsie Dent. If I have to make a special trip and it takes me, you know, a measurable amount of time to do the repair, minimum is, you know, $100. I'm either gonna do it for free, or I'm gonna charge like $100 for just the drive time or something like that. It's gonna be nominal, as long as we have the other 2 prices in place. Now the other price is Mrs. Jones. Mrs. Jones comes in, hey, if she's there, she's doing a repair, we want to do something on the side kind of thing, whatever. It's not going to mess up your GP and you want to go through the shop to do it. I'm going to give her a good price. It's not going to be, you know, $100, but it's not going to be swinging for the fences. And then there's the insurance work. And I'm like, dude, let's hit the home run on the insurance job, because that's going to pay for everything else and it balances out, you know. And it's like, you know, go to bat for me when I'm telling you that, you know, my matrix says this is what it's going to be. Don't say, well, that seems like a lot because I just ate how many dents for free last week? Like, you know, let's just give and take. And everybody's on board with that because everybody gets it and stuff happens, you know. And if you can be there and like saving the day, then, you know, it's hero work, you know.
Now, I've got a scenario for you because I just dealt with this. I want to see how you guys would handle it, both of you. You write a hail claim at a body shop. Obviously, we're writing it standard. We're not using the State Farm or the Dent Wizard or any of the matrices. You know, I write everything in standard. Body shop calls you, says, "Hey, I think we're gonna have to kick this car. You know, I'm just gonna tell the customer to pick it back up." I'm like, "Why?" And he's like, "Well, it's the insurance company, and they won't pay markup on this, and they're only gonna pay $56 because I charge them like $76 for glue and alcohol. Well, they're only going to pay $56 of that." I'm like, okay. And it's like a $5,900 job. And he's like, the biggest problem is they're screwing you on your roof. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, they're like $450 difference. You know, like they won't pay $450 of what the price was. Say it was $2,000, $2,400 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay. Well, what's the real problem, Will? And he's like, what do you mean? And I said, we'll eat the $450. We're going to lose a $5,000 job for $450. Well, I don't want to screw you and make you lose money. And I'm like, bro, it's $5,000. How would you guys handle that? Same way? Or would you say no and argue it?
I would do it.
Oh man, I have never discounted a hail estimate. Not any more than like just the standard 25% margin for the shop.
Yeah. And some of that was, we had like 3 upcharges on this roof. You know what I mean? Like, it'll take me an hour and a half to fix a whole roof. That's why I was like, $400, whatever. Just means I'm taking the $400 off your markup. That's all.
Yeah,
you wouldn't do that. You would lose the $5,000 job.
It's a principle thing, you know. It's honestly,
I get it.
I get a comparison. I go, what's the cost to replace the roof? And if I've exceeded the cost of replacement, then okay, I'll talk. You know, maybe we can bring it down to just that replacement cost. But if it costs more to replace the roof and the body shop can't fix it, what are you going to do?
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
My problem with that scenario is that you have a relationship with a body shop and you want to keep that relationship tight. The problem is that the insurance company is dictating your relationship now.
100%.
And I don't agree with someone coming in and saying like, well, we have other shops that will do it for this price. Well, then you should have taken it there from the get-go. Your customer decided to come here. This is the quality of work that I provide. This is the charge for it. I do not have to discount that for you. You know, granted, are we, you know, splitting hairs at $400? Yeah, probably. But it's just principle. You know, the principle, I provide a good service, I provide a good product. And if you don't want it, for my cost, then you are welcome to take it somewhere.
Your
And that's the problem also in our business, and I've heard it throughout the industry, is the body shops, and this goes back to the relationship that you have with the body shop. The body shop is representing you because they're fighting that hail estimate.
Yes.
You know, it's like when it's at my shop, you know, like some of the stuff we have, well, we're not going to pay that. Okay, then I'll just charge your customer. And that usually helps, you know, when you're like, hey, I'm going to charge him the extra $600.
But don't you
And
think
that'll,
that like there's like an audacity to that of like,
oh,
we're like, why? It's a
100%.
matrix. This is a national matrix. I'm not making numbers up. Here's the justification. Here's the damage on the panel.
Yep.
Where are you coming up with this? We're not doing it.
Yep.
Corey, did you educate your shops to fight the adjusters for you, like the insurance companies?
I mean,
Did you,
over the
or
years,
were they already like, I'll go to battle with an adjuster any day?
it seems to come in waves.
Yeah,
pretty much.
it does.
Like it's like the insurance companies put out a bulletin every now and then. They're like, hey, tighten up on the hail stuff. And everybody's like, no, 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 no. And you're fighting for a whole season. And then the next 3 seasons, no one even bats an eye and they just approve every estimate. And that, in my opinion, that inconsistency is part of the reason that I say no.
Yeah.
Like, why this year, but not okay last year? Like, and then you see, you know, the power of the internet, you know, you start seeing other people's estimates. Well, you approve these markups on so-and-so's estimate in this state. So why wouldn't you approve them here? This is the same insurance company. These are the same policies. No, because whoever it is that's telling you no, that person, you can get past them, you know,
and they
like,
don't know. Yeah. You know, it's, I don't know. It's been a weird hail year. You know, some insurance companies fix them
Right off of pictures.
Just fix them. Other insurance companies, the State Farm's been brutal, you know. You know, you can make notes on the car. Like we had a car that needed a hood, and I was like, R&I grill. You make it as easy as you can. R&I grill, emissions labels. He brings the estimate back, and I'm like, did you look at the wrong car in the parking lot? He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, the car that has all the notes in yellow on the red car, you didn't even put on the estimate. Just supplement it. I was like, no, we're not even going to start the car until this is straightened out. I'm not handling another supplement. Like, why waste everybody's time? But that's the world we're in right now. You know what I mean? I think some of the problem is the consolidators too. You know, the Calibers and the Gerbers that are writing these estimates for the insurance company. A lot of these estimators are so green, they don't know what to write. You know, that's when you're getting into that 3 to 4 to 5 supplements in for the same car. And I think they're sending their own people out, like the State Farm guy that came for us. And they're just doing the same thing. They're like, oh, I'm going to keep my numbers low. Just supplement it. No, dude. Why are you wasting my time?
Yeah.
That happened in 2010 here because like it doesn't hail here, and that was such a big hailstorm. So many body shops did not know how to write hail. It was a mess.
Yeah. You know, we get them now. I wrote one yesterday because I live about 40 minutes from my shop. So if there's something on the way to the shop, I'll set it up to where I just leave a little later and hit them on my way to the shop. And I wrote the whole car. I circled it. I give her the estimate, right? I don't mind doing it. It doesn't take me that long. And like 5 hours later, she sends me an email and goes, can you send me the pictures of that damage? What? The car's right outside your window. Walk your ass out there and take your own pictures. What the hell are you're too lazy to take? I did the hard work for you. Go take the pictures. I don't know.
Do you charge for a mobile estimate like that?
No. Because I'm only giving, you got to remember this, I'm only giving 15% discount on these cars. Yeah. So I'll write them, you know.
Do you ever
and a lot of times,
Do you ever not get them after you write an estimate?
We get
You always get them?
Yeah. I mean, right now,
you're a celebrity there, though.
We've got 15 hanging at different body shops that are just waiting to be taken apart, plus what we have at the shop. So, you know, we can only do so much. You know, it gets to that point when you're like, we're 2 weeks out. Josh wrote one today. I'm like, we're 2 weeks. They're like, okay.
I got in the habit of charging for my mobile estimates like that because it takes me, I mean, with all the documentation, and I take several pictures. I mean, most of my estimates are between 40 and 60 photos of a hail estimate. You know, I document every piece of trim that needs to come off. I like to write my sheets one time.
Mhm.
And so for that, I charge people for my estimate, and I tell them, like, look, I'm going to come out, I'm going to do the best. I'm going to give you the best sheet you can possibly find. If you decide to cash out, this is going to be your cash out.
Well, you're saying for retail, correct? For like a standard customer coming to. Yes.
Yeah, for retail for sure.
Yeah.
I know.
charge.
Okay, good. That's why I was asking, because
And
those
the, and
people,
the the reason I do that, right now we're at 150. I charge them 150 for the estimate. And I tell them, they'll call and I'm like, look, they're insistent about an estimate. Well, have you reached out to your insurance company? Yes. Well, they told me to get an estimate. Well, who's your insurance company? Geico. No, they write their own estimates right off the bat. So why don't you reach out to them? No, they told me to get an estimate. I'm like, okay, cool. It's $150. But when you bring your vehicle back, I'll apply that either to your deductible, or if you have a zero deductible, I'll refund your money.
It's the exact same thing. Yeah, I do the same thing.
And
That's
a
what I do.
couple of them haven't come back, but most of them come back.
I had one not come back. Actually, just this year, I did a mobile sheet. The guy paid it immediately. I did credit card. I just did like a deposit, and I emailed him, and he put his credit card on there and ran the $150. And I went about my day, and I talked about, like, let's get it on the schedule in a couple weeks. And, okay, sounds good. And then I never heard anything from the guy. Well, a couple weeks go by, I get a call from one of my shops, and they're like, hey, we got one for you. Okay. So I drive out there and I look at it, and I'm like, I've already written this truck. What the hell, And so I reached out to the customer and I was like, hey, I'm at this shop and your truck's here. He's like, oh, are you going to fix it there? And I'm like, well, yeah, now. And he's like, I'm sorry, man. He's like, my insurance company put some pressure on me to take it to one of their shops. And he's like, and they said that they wouldn't warranty your work and also their stuff. And he's like, so I got kind of scared and I just took it over there. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to reimburse your $150. And he's like, no, don't worry. I'm like, no, I'm fixing it, man. So, like, I'm giving you your money back. But, like, that's crazy that they put that much pressure on him that he buckled and he went somewhere else.
And some people do. I mean, some of these shops, State Farm's known for it. Well, if you take it to the other shop, it's not a lifetime warranty, but you don't realize that shop has a lifetime warranty too. You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
it's scary what the insurance companies are doing to some of their customers. They're really kind of, well, if you make a claim with a hail damage vehicle, it's going to make your rates go way through the roof. Like, what? The guy hasn't made a claim. Come on. Now we're in the scare tactic for people to make claims.
yeah.
The have you ever gotten a customer to where they have got an insurance estimate and it's like $1,100, right? And you read an estimate and it's like 8,000, and they're like, are you pulling insurance fraud on my insurance company? And I was like, that's impossible. And they're like, what do you mean? I was like, because they come here and look at the car, right? Like, they're looking at the car and they don't want to pay any more than they have to.
Yeah.
And then they understand, then they're okay. I understand now, but why is the estimate 1,100 and now it's 8,000? I'm like, well, they want you to take that 1,100 and never come back because you just saved them this $7,000.
Yeah, there is a percentage of people that will take the initial check and never look twice.
Yes.
And so they're trained to write very light sheets initially.
Yeah. And this is just like Jared's saying, on severe hail, he doesn't mark every dent. I mark oversized, severe oversized photo. It is what it is. State Farm sucks. And some of that's true. I mean, we've had some hail cars lately that were well over 300 on the roof. And we're like, we're not, as soon as we hit a certain number, when you get over that 200, don't waste your time.
Chart.
You know what I mean? Almost everything we've had lately is off the chart. Just look at your comparative pricing, see what it is, see where you are, see where you can make it work, and then see what you can negotiate from there. I don't know.
I wrote up a $8,000 F-150 just for the sides, no roof, no hood. Did the estimate for a shop I do a lot, and there's a new service writer there. Called it his dent guy. He did it for $1,300. I was like, what do I do with that? don't do the shop anymore. You know,
Eh,
the guy had to come back 6 times to finish that truck. You know, I never looked at it. He knows me. I wouldn't redo a guy's work. You know, what would you do with that, Corey?
I wanted to circle back to your question about the $400 on a hail claim. I was in a position, it was an American family claim, and similar, I wrote like $4,500 on a repair. And the shop that I'm referring to was a DRP for American Family, and American Family says, we're only going to pay DRP rates. And I said, well, that's unfortunate because I didn't sign a DRP. I'm not going to do it for that, you know?
Yep.
And so they put pressure on the writer, who was young and kind of new. And the writer says, well, unfortunately, they told me I have to find another company to do the repairs. So I'm going to hire another company that said they would do it for $1,200. And I was like, okay, that's not, and he was very apologetic. He felt really bad. I was like, dude, don't sweat. However, while I have you on the phone, let's just discuss what happens if this goes sideways. I'm going to charge you 30% additional to my initial repair to fix what they screw up. Just keep that in the back of your mind. He kind of chuckled, and I'm like, I'm not kidding. And weeks go by, and this car would have been done 2 days, and weeks go by, and he calls me, and I'm like, hey, what's up, man? Not even thinking about that car anymore. And he's like, dude, you were right. These guys, they've been here. There's been 3 of them here. They've been here multiple days. I keep calling them back. They couldn't fix the deck lid. We're replacing the deck lid. Now painting the roof. We had to replace the hood. And he's like, this has turned into a nightmare. And he's like, I just want to know if you can come and straighten the sides out for us. And I was like, you know my conditions. And he's like, I know. I told the adjuster for American Family over the phone what you had said about 30%. And he goes, his head exploded on the phone. And he's like, he wants to know if you will work with him at 25% above the original. And I was like, I'll come take a look at it. And I went and I looked, no problem, dude, I'll do that. And I flew through the sides. I mean, if you've ever you have to redent the panel, and so I redented everything, pulled everything back out, and I cleaned it all up, and I was done in the same day. And I was like, I billed him like $2,500 in less than 3 hours. And I was like, you guys are dumb. This thing would have been done a week and a half ago, and you would save money. Like, it's just, they're tripping over dollars to pick up cents, and that's how it feels all the time. And so that's why I would say no to the $400, because no, it's just I've been down the road,
And I had the same thing happen with Caliber. I serviced a bunch of Calibers. It hailed, and they're like, oh, we have a national contract with the company, so they're going to have to do the work. And all the GMs are like friends of mine, and they're like, bro, I am so sorry. Like, it's out of my hand. I'm like, no worries. No worries. Just call me when the shit hits the fan. It's no worries.
Yeah.
No problem. 2 months in, he's calling me, goes, bro, this is not working. This is, I'm not going to mention the company because a lot of people know who they are. And he's like, this is not working. Can you come help me out? And I was like, yeah. He's like, I already know. You don't even have to have the conversation with me. I need your help. I'm like, okay. So we get there, and I fixed the car, and it was like 35% markup higher, on top of everything that you would already charge. And he's like, it's what it is. Got to get them fixed. And I'm like, you're right, dude. Like, he's like, and what's the craziest thing is they don't use that company anymore. But I don't know, man. It's not always about the money sometimes. You know what I mean? You look at a tech, you have some techs that do a really good job and handle accounts, and then you run in that situation and you're kind of like, okay. You don't even take it personally at that point, right?
Yep.
You kind of are like, cool, I got you.
I don't understand why body shops will do a DRP.
Some of them need it, dude. Some of them can't operate without it. You know what I mean? Some of them, they just can't find their own work. Their location's not very good. And it's constant work. I mean, I have a shop that has 16 body techs. It's probably one of my best accounts. It's the most well-oiled, well-run shop in the state, I'm sure. I mean, it's amazing what he's done. And he's a Geico. And he looks at me and he goes, I was like, when are you going to get rid of Geico? He goes, probably not going to. I'm like, why not? He's like, At this point, it's easy for me because I already know how to write it, how to make it work. And it's $1.3 million worth of
A
cars.
year?
6 months. He goes, in 6
6
months, I
months?
get 1.3 million out of them. He's
Wow.
like, why would I kick them out? I'm not going to get that 1.3 million. They're going to send them down the street. And I'm like, you're right.
Yeah.
He's like, you just have to learn how to pivot around what they want and make it work. And I'm like, I guess you're right.
Yeah,
Now,
there's always that setting, whether it's
how do you handle a customer that comes, you look at the damage, you give them a price $700, and they're like, oh, that's too much. But they were referred from one of your body shops. How do you just look at it and say, well, it's going to be like $1,200 or $1,500 for the body shop to fix it? What do you do at that point?
personally, I'm a very open person, and I'm very honest, and I tell people like, hey, this is what it's costing me to do it. I understand that I'm probably not the cheapest guy in the area. There are guys out there that will do it cheaper. I understand that I cannot speak for their quality, but I can speak for mine. For this price, you won't see it, or I won't charge you. And that's the stance on it. And if they still decide to go somewhere else, that's totally cool, and it doesn't bother me at all.
Same way here. I'm like, I just had a guy 2 days ago, Porsche Cayenne, 2 dents, not real bad. I was like, $350. He's a referral from a good friend of mine. Not bad, it'll take me no time. How about 300? I said, how about no? And he's like, okay, well, you're not going to work with me? Oh, I'm working with you. You want your dents fixed? We're working together. You try to make fun of it a little bit, and he's like, well, you're not gonna do it for 300. And I was like, no. He goes, so you're gonna let me leave? I said, there's another dent company around the corner. He'll fix it for like $250, but you're still gonna see it, and you're gonna be back, and it's still gonna cost you. Now it's gonna cost you $600 to come through my door for me to fix it.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do. You know my reputation. You're gonna be extremely happy when it's done, and I'm gonna have you out of here in an hour.
My shops, I do when they price a dent for me. What I notice is like they'll tell me how much they priced it, and then I deal with that customer, and they try and like come at a lower price, and I was like, didn't Mike say 700? I talked to Mike, and then they always usually just okay, and they schedule.
Oh, yeah. That's
that happens to me a lot.
Yeah, I feel like that approach it's borderline arrogant, and I know that. I have to be very delicate in those settings because I don't want to come across as an arrogant person, but I am very confident in the skills that I possess and the work that I produce. And if you don't want to pay it, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I mean, truly, I'm not the cheapest guy in the area, and that's I worked really hard to get here, and that's
exactly.
I think you have to be in Arizona. You have to be somewhat arrogant because there's so many like $50 dent guys out here. I got undercut once at a store I did. They started doing $35 dents.
Oh my God.
I was just like, what? It lasted a whole year. And they called me back, and I raised my price $10. Went in at 85. I was $75. I was just like, it was crazy. But
what are you going to do?
There's a lot of cheap guys here.
No, dude, we're no.
Yeah.
So how did this whole little, and it's funny before, obviously me and you have just met. But I've been watching it for a while. You and Mark, your little feud that you've been going back and forth. It's been a lot of fun to watch. I've actually enjoyed it, to be honest with you. For me, not knowing either one of you, I thought it was freaking great because I'm like, their customers are probably watching their Facebook pages and Instagram and just laughing it's funny as shit. It's great.
Mark started it. Yeah, one day he found himself in my McLaren account, and he just decided that he was gonna put a little gas and fire on me. And I don't have I had to add an Instagram to my phone. I don't have the app on it. It still works, but I removed all those apps from my phone. I just spending too much time on there. And he's like, "Hey, check your Instagram." I'm like, "What do you mean check my Instagram?" And I see, I'm like, "This son of a bitch! Like, are you like?" And he's talking shit, and so. Yeah, I have a tendency to escalate things. So he's funny, but he's kind of a cunt. Sorry. That's it.
Mark.
And what's the worst part is I'm not understanding it, Mark. And obviously I just met Mark because he was on the show not long ago, and I'm seeing on my phone he's commenting, but he's not showing up on the live stream. So,
No.
Mark, I really don't know what's going on.
He might be commenting on YouTube.
I'm not. It would pop up here, so I don't know exactly what's going on. But sorry, Mark. It's not Corey's fault. I promise.
Don't apologize to him. He sucks.
So, are we gonna see you at MTE or what?
I don't know, man. Listen, this year's been nuts. I got married. I got engaged. I got married. I've spent far too much money. I'm really busy at work right now.
So,
and
yeah.
So that means no.
Probably not. Yeah, no.
You gotta come, dude. I'm telling. Have you been?
I've been to the Florida one. Yeah, I went
Okay.
2 years ago.
Okay.
No, 2 years ago. I don't know. I went with David Shalott, and I realized I can't drink like he does. So.
No.
He can drink.
Oh my God, dude! Drinking he's still going all night, and then he's up at like 6 a.m. I'm like, how are you breathing? I don't. Yeah, no.
Yo.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. It's been a lot of fun. I was when Alex said Corey, I was like, fuck yeah, because this shit with him and Mark. I need to get a show with you and Mark and just watch you guys bicker for like an hour.
That'd be awesome.
That would be great. Because I really have enjoyed you guys' whole thing. You know, it was funny as shit. So it's been great.
Just tell Mark not to moon the camera.
Oh yeah, those assless.
Hey, I mean, we had just a dent on here with his duck on his ass. So I mean, hey, that show's
That guy
still
is
out
awesome.
there.
Corey, you
Levon
know
is
that
great.
dude?
Yeah, this is fun.
How can people find you?
Fuck.
Indent.com or something, right?
TikTok. That's probably where most of my work is at. Actually, is TikTok. I like the interface to you, like for the videos.
Yeah.
I think it's actually Corey Bender, but the TikTok name is like Dent Fix AZ.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's Corey with a K _ Bender is my @ I believe on TikTok or Facebook, Instagram. Instagram is Fender Benders. Facebook is Fender Bender also.
Do you have a
Well,
website?
I appreciate you coming. Yeah. What's your website?
Oh, FenderBendersPDR.com, of course.
Look
Good
at that.
website.
It's
Ain't
easy.
anything current on there. I don't use it for anything other than the email.
Well, Corey, thanks a lot, man. And it'd be great if you changed your mind and came to MTE. Alex said you could sleep in his room with him.
Oh,
Save
yeah.
you
You
some money.
right, Alex? King size? You, me, and the wife? Yeah.
Hell
Nope.
yeah.
My name is not Mork.
Okay. But, you know.
Corey, you have a fantastic night, and thanks a lot. I appreciate it, bud.
You as well. Thank you very much. Peace, guys.
See you, Corey.
See ya. That was a
He's
good
funny.
one. He is funny, man. And like I said, his whole thing with Mark is funny as hell. If you guys
Yeah.
don't watch it, you've got to get on there because it's really amusing. And it just seems to keep going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
I don't think that'll stop.
you don't
They'll
think
take
so?
breaks, but it'll keep going.
Hey, you know. But I'm excited for MT, guys. Hopefully all you guys are coming. I'm sure Josh is coming and Adam and you know, it'd be good to see Jeffrey. I haven't seen you in a little while, but and we know that the Dent Reaper will be in there. You know what I mean?
John will be
Now
there.
we do have coming, I have to mention too, is we have our Black Friday show coming up in a couple weeks. Our 4 or 5 hour roll through. We'll have to see who's having sales and what's going on with the tool manufacturers. So that's coming up.
Will
Alex,
that be on Wednesday or Thursday?
that'll be on Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Night. Wednesday. So, hey, I mean,
Exciting.
we've been doing it. This will be 5 years. Holy shit.
Wow.
It's freaking crazy.
It's a fun night, though. There's a lot
It's
of
a lot of
stuff,
work.
A lot of deals.
It's a lot of work, dude. It's a lot of work. You know, but it's what we do. Everybody, thanks for watching. Alex, thanks for joining me.
Have a good night.
You guys have a fantastic night. And we will see you next week. Have a great night. See you guys.
See you
Bye-bye.
guys.